Lean in, Lisa, put her to the test. Lean in, Lisa, so get it off your chest. It's more than just a trend, cause everyone's her friend. So lean in with Lisa, spend your time with Lisa. Lisa's got something to say. So reach out to Lisa every day.
Hey, everybody. It's great to be back. I'm so excited about my podcast today. I have the most hilarious woman. She is one of the top stand up comedians of our time. She was a semifinalist on AGT, and she is Wendy Liebman.
So reach out to Lisa every day.
Oh, wow. Well, look who's with me. Well. Hello, Wendy. Hello, Wendy Liebman.
I'm gonna lean in with Lisa.
You could
I'm
I
gonna lean in
love
like this.
perfect. We'll lean in together.
Okay.
Wendy,
I'm
I'm
glad I
so
have this virtual background because my office is just also my workout room. So there's a bike behind me and um, a rowboat.
oh, I have Do you have a rower? I have a rower.
I do have a rower. I actually bought a really inexpensive one because I wasn't that committed to it, but it's great.
It's the best. And by the way, if you do it about well, I was training for a little bit, but then I stopped and he said do it 20 minutes a day. I'm lucky if I do it 5 minutes a day, but I do it. But all you need is to just do it even for like just a few minutes and it makes all the difference. I mean, it really does. It really does.
What were you training for?
Uh, for my thighs, I was, and yeah. So, so when COVID hit, were you a member of a gym during, like, did you work out a lot?
No, I once joined a gym, like in the early 2000s, and it was called Crunch.
Oh yeah,
And
crunch.
I went once the first time when I signed up, and then I never went back. And,
So why do you
they
look
said
so
they
good?
have what?
I said, why do you look so good? Like
Oh,
you like, you look like you have not 1 ounce of fat on you.
it's very deceptive, Lisa, and I do ride my exercise bicycle 10 miles a day,
Oh my,
and
no,
that's
you don't.
been for years.
Are you kidding? 10 miles a
I
day?
Yeah, I don't, it's not like a Peloton, I don't sweat. I take my it's like a recumbent bike, so it's more like I sit on my bicycle and I watch TV
But
and
10
I
mi
get a
oh
little
my god.
exercise. I get my heart rate up a little bit. Um, but no, I gained 10 pounds today.
Today
Uh,
just today? Yeah.
yeah. Um, but my weight fluctuates so much, because I grew up on Long Island and everybody's but anyway, no, I don't you asked me if I belonged to a gym before COVID. I did not. But during COVID, I started eating boxes of Cheez-Its, family size, every day. So, I guess I was a stress eater. I don't know. I just think they're delicious.
They are the best. This is really Cheez-Its are the best snack. Family size, I'm not
Yes.
sure about, but yeah. Um, but I'm sorry I missed your show the other night. I really wanted to go to Flappers to see you, perform, and very immersed in volleyball. My daughter plays volleyball, so but how did it go?
Well, I first of all, I commend you on the volleyball mom thing because I'm not a mother, but I did help my husband raise his 2 sons. So I'm a stepmother,
You're a mother.
and I
You're a
remember
mother.
well, I know. Uh, I didn't go to all the games like my husband did. There were a lot of soccer games.
Oh, you're a stepmother then.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, my show was it was so much fun. I haven't hadn't performed all month, and I asked them at Flappers if I could do the little room because they have, like, the regular showroom. It's
Yes.
my favorite club right now.
I love
Um,
flappers. Yes.
I know. You've performed there.
I
And then they have
performed
the
there, yes.
smaller room. They have a little the YooHoo room, and it seats 50, and I just
Oh,
comped all my friends. It's the
I
only
like
way I get to see
that.
my friends now is if I invite them to a show,
They'll
but
all
it
come
was
to
it
see
was
you.
glorious. It was really
I'm
fun.
s
I'll do it again.
I wanna go next time. I promise you I will be there. I promise, promise. The last time I did Flappers, Stephen Tobolowsky came over to me after the show and told me he went over and he just stared at me and went, "You're funny." And I said, "That made my year."
Of course.
I mean, coming from him?
I mean, I get excited when somebody likes a tweet,
Exac
but
exactly.
that's wonderful.
But it was really fun, and I love it. But anyway, I wanted to ask you because I know, like, I'm wearing my red for Valentine's Day. It's coming up in about a week, Valentine's Day. I'm wearing my red. I saw this at Target. What do you think of this sweatshirt?
What does
My
it
dog
say?
my
Oh,
dog is my Valentine
it really is true.
because she is. No offense to my husband, but she is. I'm sorry, she
Um,
is.
yes, my dog is, I love my dog. I have 2 dogs. They're, Jindo. I think I told you. They
Yes, we talked
were
about it at lunch.
rescued from a meat market. Um, and I never was a dog person before. I never had a dog before I was in my 40s. So it's only
Are
the past 20 years.
are they the
And I
best?
can't imagine my life. What kind of dog do you have again?
I have a golden doodle. Her name is Lucy because, I mean, look, Lucy,
Oh, I know. I was looking behind you. Are you channeling Lucille Ball?
Lucy, my Lucy cup.
Oh my God.
Why do I like funny women, Wendy. That's why I'm having you on my podcast. I
Thank
like
you
women.
so much.
I like women who are funny. I saw you about now tell me if I'm wrong because I could be completely this might have been a dream. But I think did you ever do Johnny Carson?
I did.
You did. It was you. It was
I
you.
did.
Okay.
May 10th, 1991.
It
And
was
I only
you.
remember because you're only on Carson one, or I was
Right.
only on Carson once.
If you're
But
lucky.
it's also my niece's first birthday. I remember that coincided. But yes, I had short hair, like really, really short hair.
And it was
And
straight. It was like blown out. Was it
I
kind of
was
blown out?
funky.
Yeah.
No, because it's this short. It was this short. It
Yeah,
was
you had like a
like
little Dorothy Hamill thing going on.
I did.
I know. I
And
remember
and
you.
somebody asked me why I had my hair like that for so long. And I said, I guess I didn't have any friends who would tell me to get rid of that haircut. But
But
I just cut 4 inches off my hair and
I
I feel like
see.
a new person.
So
It's
cute.
thank you. It's so weird what hair can do.
It's unbelievable. You look younger, number one. I just took about 4 inch, well, 3.5 inch. But it's like when I went into the hair salon, the guy said, you really need to take some of this off because it's making you look older. So he said, you need something a little more current. What you did just now is current. I love it.
Well, I just feel such a relief, and I'm insane about my hair anyway, so I just said, "I'm gonna start a new year. I'm gonna cut it off finally." It's been this length before, but,
I know
I'm
it really
learning to it
works.
now. But doesn't it change your mood?
Changes your mood, you feel lighter, you feel like a whole new kind of beginning. It's very cool. It's a very
But
cool
hair in
feeling.
general can change my mood, how
Oh,
my hair looks. I mean, one time it
yes.
was dyed black, and I was just dyeing it this color, which is brown, but I guess my hair is very porous. So she put so much in that it was like Elvira black, and I was so depressed,
Really?
um, but, like, to an extreme. I think I was depressed about other things, and that just sent me over the edge of a bottle
That
of
that
scotch.
Yeah, that would set me over the edge too, because my hair is my like, that's my trademark, so it's like
Right,
everyone knows. It's so funny because, oh, so my mother-in-law's in an assisted living home, and she's laying in bed, she's 96, and I go see her a few times a week, and I wore my hair up, and I ring the bell. She's in a it's like a private home with 4 rooms, and I ring the bell, and the caregiver answers the door and says, "Excuse me, but, we don't, we gave already." And I said, "It's me." And he goes,
oh,
"No, who are you?" I said,
right,
I'm Lisa. I'm Sylvia's daughter-in-law." He goes, "Oh, I didn't know that." See, people recognize me with my hair from my hair.
right.
That's what's your trademark?
Um, I think people tell me it's my smile.
I agree. It is.
That and my sense of humor. No, my personality. I don't know. That's a really good question. When I had just started out, this man came up to me after a show and he said, "You really need like a prop." And he said, "You should really hand out like rubber hamburgers, like Wendy's." And I've always
Oh,
wondered, like, if
oh,
I had had a prop or something to give out, how the trajectory of my career might have gone differently.
I'm so glad you didn't.
I
Um,
know, I know.
you don't need anything.
I've never sold anything.
You don't need to. You just sell yourself because 'cause you're so
No.
fucking funny.
I
But I
sold
have
my
to tell
soul.
you sold your soul, yes. That's true. You sold but it was worth it. But
Yeah,
now
but
Valentine's is coming up. Are you and your hubby planning on a romantic, something? Dinner? What anything?
well, no, because I have a show actually at the Orpheum in Los Angeles on Valentine's. It's called The Chosen, and it's like 10 Jewish comedians.
Wait, is that the
And
one with Jeff Garlin?
yes,
We're going. Oh, I wanna go. Fuck the dinner. I wanna go.
so they added me. First, they hired me,
Right?
and then I saw the picture and I wasn't on the lineup. So I was like, "Oh, was I unchosen?" But I think I just didn't make the poster. Anyway,
I
so we're doing that,
They have to add
and
you to the poster. They have to, like, do,
they
like, a
did.
little, like okay.
They did, and they added somebody else who I don't know, but I know, Natasha Leggero and, her husband, and Jeff Garlin I know. And
Jeff
I
is the
know Dan
best.
Levy, who is, like, a phenomenal comedian. He was just touring with, John Mulaney all over the world.
Oh, I love John
I
Mulaney.
saw I saw that on Instagram. But I want to tell you a story. So one day,
Yes.
my husband and I were, sitting down to binge watch something after dinner, and there was nothing on, and so finally we settled on a documentary about Hitler, and it was Valentine's Day. 1 year. So now every Valentine's Day, we say that we have to find a good Hitler documentary.
Lovely, okay. But
Speaking
you
of
get at
Jewish, I'm not really a great Jew, like, I just took down my Christmas tree, so I'm not, um
Oh, Wendy. I did you did AGT, right?
I did. I
And
was
you
on
went
69.
okay, because I when I was younger, my grandfather and my grandmother used to take me to Radio City, we were like I thought I was the only Jew there because it was during the Christmas show, and do you remember you never went to the Christmas show, did you?
Every year,
You went? A
we
Long
went.
Island Jewish girl?
Yes, my grandparents lived in Manhattan, one set of them, and we went to see the Rockettes and
Love the
some
Rockettes.
movie every year. I loved that show. And we also saw the Nutcracker. Um, and that I just love New York City at the holidays.
I love it, and I saw The Sound of Music, I saw Mary Poppins there. Wait a minute, Mary Poppins, speaking of Mary Poppins, your husband, isn't he his didn't his father is your fa explain to me, please.
My husband's father
Yes,
and uncle, so my husband's father and his brother are the Sherman Brothers who wrote a lot of the music for Disney in the '60s, including Mary Poppins.
the Sherman
And
Brothers.
one day my husband came home from school, he was 7, and my father-in-law said, "What did you do today?" And my husband said, "Oh, we got the shot for polio." And my father-in-law said, "You let them give you a shot with a needle?" And my husband said, "Oh, no, they put the medicine on a sugar cube, and they put that on a spoon, and we just ate that." And my father-in-law wrote, "Spoonful of sugar helps
Oh
them
my
go down."
god. Oh, what a great story.
And
I love
I
this. Tell me
know.
another one. I love this.
So
That
my
was a
husband inspired that story. Oh, so another time my husband he was like 4 and he was at the Disney Studios. Maybe he was a little older. And Walt Disney said, "How do you like the set?" Or how do you
right.
they had just filmed Mary Poppins or they were in the middle of it. "How do you like the set?" And my husband was like, I don't think it's good," or something like that. And so Walt Disney took him down to the set and said, "What's wrong?" And my husband said, "Well, you people are dancing on the ground, and you said that they're going to be on the rooftops." And Walt Disney leans down and says, "Okay, this is what the camera is going to see, and it will look like they're dancing on the rooftops." And he
It
said,
was
"That's
Jim
movie magic,
Wow.
and don't tell your
Oh,
friends."
don't tell your friends? Oh, that's great. Oh my god, what
So
an
my
amazing
husband met Walt Disney. I know.
Have you ever met Julie Andrews?
I have not met Julie. My husband has. He did a documentary about the Sherman Brothers, and he interviewed everybody from Julie Andrews to uh,
Dick Van Dyke?
Jessica, what to Dick Van Dyke
Dick
to
Van
Jessica
Dyke?
Lansbury. So I have met Dick Van Dyke, which was the most thrilling thing for me because he's my hall pass.
Love more than I got to meet him too. It was my bucket list when I moved out here, and I said, "Before I die, I must. I don't care what it takes." And I met him,
So
and
what was the circumstance?
you really
How
wanna
did
know? Um,
Yeah,
s
you
so
stalked him.
no, I stalked Johnny Carson. I didn't stalk Dick Van Dyke. But I got taken out by a couple of, security guards out of Johnny's, bathroom in his well
Really?
well, I'll tell you that over lunch, but anyway,
Okay.
so I always wanted to meet him, and he was
Dick
doing a
Van Dyke.
show Dick Van Dyke was doing a show at the Agora Community Center, which is about 10 minutes from where I live, and my husband calls me and he says, "I think your wish is gonna come true. Dick Van Dyke is doing a show on Saturday. Why don't we go? It's free." So we get there with me and my husband and my daughter, and we walk in, and who do I see? His son, Barry Van Dyke.
Who
And
I
Barry
recognize from Diagnosis Murder.
diagnosis murder. And Barry and I worked together years ago. And I went in and she said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but we have no more tickets left. We're full." And Barry turns around and says, looks at me, does a double take. I said, "Barry?" He says, "Lisa, come here." I introduced him to Rick, my daughter. I said, "Yeah, I wanted to come see your dad, but there are no more seats." And he said, "Well, you're going to sit next to us. Come sit with me and my family." So I said goodbye to Rick and Ella. They left, and
And you
and
sat on his lap.
I sat on his lap, and he was very happy to see me. and there was an art show going on, and my husband saw that there was an art show, and they said, if you buy a piece of art, you can meet Dick Van Dyke. And my husband bought me a gorgeous, beautiful canvas of Dick Van Dyke, beautiful painting. And it happened to be the artist's birthday that day. And after the show, Barry walked me over to the green room, and I walked in with the artwork, and Dick looks at me and says, "You bought my favorite piece of art." He says, "This is the best." And he signs it. And I said, "Dick," I said, "first of all, you were fabulous. You did a whole song and dancing." And I said, "And you know my father's best friend that my father knew from University of Miami." And he said, and when I mentioned my father's best friend, he went nuts. Sit down for an hour. We're sitting and just schmoozing for an hour, exchanged numbers and emails, and kept in touch with him ever since.
That
So
is brilliant that
he is
you
the nicest man. Is he the
it
nicest
really is a
guy?
small world. Isn't it a small world?
It's
And
such a
that's
small world that it's 6 degrees of separation.
I think in California, it's more like 2.
I think you're right. I think you're right. And
I
not
almost
only
met Kevin Bacon twice.
I did a
I
movie with Kevin
haven't
Bacon.
You
I worked
did?
with him. Yeah, I did the big picture with him, and I played a bride. I had one line, and they stuck me in his dressing room with him. I was in the
In
trailer
Kevin Bacon's dressing
and
room.
with him and his dog, on my life.
Remind me that part of the movie because I watched it recently,
I've
but
never seen it.
The Big
Is there a
Picture,
p
I love
just watch
that movie.
I played the bride. Whatever scene you see with a bride, that's me.
Is it
I
snowing?
mm,
No.
no, no, it wasn't
Um,
snowing. It
I
wasn't
love
snowing.
that I
Not
love
what
that movie.
you like the
My
big picture? Christopher Guest was the director on that.
That movie is one of my all-time favorite movies.
I'll have to watch it.
Um, what
I
I'm
have
trying to think of what some of my other favorite movies are this year. I loved a movie called The Living,
I didn't s that's the one I
and
wanna I have to see that. Isn't she
it's
up for
beau There
is she
was,
the one
I don't know who she is, but it was mostly the man's story. Well,
okay.
it was both of their stories, but, that was my favorite movie so far this year. I
Did you
tried
see
to like everything bagel,
what's
um,
that? What is Everything
everything
Bagel?
everywhere all at once.
Oh!
It was an absolute brilliant
Brilliant.
piece of film that I don't understand.
Okay, how many times have you seen it?
Once.
See it again,
Really?
and then again, and then again.
I wanted to tell you that, I know you love White Lotus,
Love,
right? So the
love.
first season, they stay in a hotel, and that's where we stayed when we went to Hawaii, when I opened for Bill Maher over New Year's.
I wanted to ask you about that because you told me you were going to open for Bill
It
Maher.
was so much fun. Um, Jeffrey Ross was the other comedian.
Oh, he's funny.
We had 2 amazing shows.
Tell me about it. I wanna
Like,
know tell me everything. I wanna know,
so
does Bill wear a Speedo?
I didn't see him on the beach.
Oh,
Um, my husband went, like, wait diving not diving, what is it called? Body surfing. There
uh-huh.
were, like, 10 men, and they all went body surfing together.
Very
But,
nice.
I ate 4 of the best meals I've ever had. The food is amazing, and, the shows were in Oahu well, first in Maui, and then in Oahu. The audiences couldn't have been better. Um, I had just the time of my life. I got to meet Eddie Vedder, Woody Harrelson, Peter Farrelly, and Sean Penn.
They were in the
And
were they in the audience?
No, they came backstage,
Oh my
and
God.
actually Eddie Vedder played on stage. He played,
Oh, I love Eddie Vedder. That's amazing.
but does Bill Maher wear a Speedo? I'll have to ask.
Okay, I dated him years ago. I went out with him on a date. Yeah. He wasn't wearing
Yes, in New
he
York, right?
Yeah, in New York, we went out on a date. It was the day he got politically incorrect. It was a day that he found out, so he didn't really ask me much about myself, but, uh, he was excited about it, and I was very happy for him. We went out on a date, yeah. But,
And you were staying in Brooklyn, right? And he sent
I
you flowers.
yeah, I was living in Brook I was visiting from LA to I was visiting, he sent me, I was staying with my mom's best friend, Pearl and Norman, and, uh, I was, uh, I was upstairs getting ready and, um, the doorbell rang and Pearl says, and Norman, 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 oh my God, Norman, thank you so much for these gorgeous flowers, Norman. And Norman says, Pearlie, I didn't get you
Oh,
flowers.
that's
And,
hilarious.
uh, and they were from Bill Maher. He sent me flowers. Yeah. That's
Wow.
my
Well,
Bill Maher
he's the
story.
funniest, most generous
He's a
host.
genius. He's a genius. He's brilliant.
Genius.
Was he
His
nice to
show
you?
that oh, so nice. A couple of weeks ago on his show, on Bill Maher's show, one of his bits was about flying private because he was pointing out the hypocrisy of a lot of these environmentalists who fly private planes. And he said
Mhm.
there are two types of people: those who fly private and those who can't, who want to fly private. Okay. And then there's a third group, those who can fly private but don't, but those don't exist. Except for
I don't wanna fly private. Except for who?
Ed Begley, and Greta um, Thunberg. Greta, the young kid activist.
Oh,
I
right,
can't think.
right. But well, Ed Begley is extremely I mean, he's all about,
He walks his
he's
walk.
yes, yes, he's not, I think he was one of the first to get solar panels or whatever.
I used to see him at the farmer's market selling like a cleaning solution that was environmentally friendly. He was sitting in the booth selling it. He's so down
I
to
bel
earth.
I totally believe that. I totally believe that. Yeah, he is a very, very down to earth guy.
Yeah.
But well, no, Sean Penn. Let's talk about Sean. You met Sean Penn.
I was
Okay.
coming off stage. He was going onto the stage because he was going to say hello.
Oh, he was
And
performing
well, he was just saying hello as Spicoli. They were introducing him as Spicoli.
as Spacol. Oh,
Yes. So
fast
he
times.
really just went on and waved hello. And as he was passing me, he said, um, "I'm an insomniac too," because I had been talking about being an insomniac. So I never got to follow up, but I mean, in the meantime, um, I guess I'm at that point in my life, Lisa, where I don't feel like, "Ooh, how can this help me?" or "What could that lead to?" I go, this is fabulous." Like, just meeting him.
Being yes,
Right.
and being there with all these fabulous people and like but everything comes to you, Wendy. I mean, when I look at you, you're this girl, you grew up in New York, I mean, when you told your parents you wanted to be a comedian, like what was the look on their face?
Um, I've never told them. I think
So they still haven't found out?
they think I'm a 3rd grade teacher living in Akron, Ohio. No, they're thrilled. I think at first they were like, "Whatever makes you money." No, whatever makes you happy. And I had a day job. I was working at a college doing administrative work, so I never was a starving artist. So they always just were very supportive, and I think both my parents have that extrovert gene. My dad sings in a choir and has
Nice.
for 35 years. It's called the University Glee Club. It's in New York, all men.
Oh,
It's
that's so
beautiful.
cute. Aw,
35 years, and
I love that.
my mother played the drums at my wedding. No, my mother did. My mother is, she is like a she ran a preschool for years and now does workshops on children and how to deal with your children, and she does it
That's
over Zoom, and so they're 87 and 88 years old.
oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's great. They're in New York still? Are they
They
in New
live in
York?
New York, but they're coming to California for a
The
month
show?
because,
Are they gonna
um
get to see you do The Chosen?
no, but I'll go down at the end of the month to see them, and,
Oh, that'll be fun.
yeah, so that's like a tradition that they come here once a year, and I get to see them for a little while. Yeah.
So
So
speaking of college, you were talking about college. I met you through my BFF, my Ithaca College BFF, Judy Berg. You know, we were, since you and I are like, I think you and I are around the same age, you're 45, right?
I'm
So, and
61,
you're not
almost
61.
62.
Look at that face. You're so you're so cute.
Thank you.
No, you really
I
are
wanna tell
cute.
the Judy Berg story because this is my
Okay,
favorite one of my favorite stories ever. So I had run into an old high school friend, Deborah, and she lived in New York and I was performing there, and I got to meet her friend Judy. We all went to lunch, and
right,
then I invited Deborah to my wedding, and I said, "You can bring a plus one," and she said that she didn't like to fly, so she wasn't gonna come, and I said, "Well, maybe bring Judy, and she'll
right.
help you fly." So I send them an invitation, and then they get upset because I think that they're together like a couple, and they
Oh, a
weren't.
couple.
So I find 2 more invitations. I send them each an invitation.
Ah.
So Deborah decides she can't come to my wedding, but Judy Berg comes to my wedding, and I had met her once for 2 hours.
And that was it. That was
But
it.
I love your BFF. I think she's a wonderful human being,
Well, I love her too, and she is a hoot. Is she a hoot? Is she fun? She's so
and it
fun.
is such a small world because she went to high school with my agent.
I mean, come on,
I
really?
mean, come
We were
on.
meant you and I were meant to meet when? We were meant to meet.
It's all beshert.
It's my mother's favorite word was beschert. But I wanted to ask you also, I wanna know who was your role model growing up?
You mean comedy-wise?
Yeah, comedy. Like mine was Lucy, of course.
I think mine was Lily Tomlin, which is really
Oh, Lily.
interesting because I don't do characters, and that's what she did. But I used to imitate her characters for my father, and I would get a laugh, and I think hearing my dad laugh just was so joyous to me. I wanted to do that all the time.
So did you do Edith Ann?
I did Edith Ann. I could do it, but then I would have to
Sit in a
I
big chair with a
yeah, and I did Ernestine. I loved Lily Tomlin so much. She's in a movie now, 80 for Brady.
I know, did you see it?
I didn't see it, but I'm gonna write my own movie, 60 for Bill Bixby.
Courtship of Eddie's Father and The Incredible Hulk.
I only
Loved.
saw the first.
Oh, I love Bill Bixby. He went way too soon. He went way too soon. He was great. Wasn't he
It's
great?
it's interesting that sometimes I can't remember if somebody has passed because he's still so large in my head.
Well, whenever I see the memoriam, every time Rick and I watch it together, when we watch the Oscars, I always say, wait a minute, didn't that person pass away 10 years ago? It's usually Buddy Epson. It feels like Buddy Epson keeps coming up every year. I can't explain it.
Can I tell you that I have been watching Barnaby Jones lately. Speaking of Buddy Epson,
I
he's the
love Buddy
star of Barnaby
Epson.
Jones.
Of
And
course he
I watch
is.
all of those shows. My husband makes fun of me, but I do it in the morning when I'm folding laundry.
On
I'm
La La Land, not La La
I
Land,
fold
TV
laun
Land?
yeah, and MeTV.
Me
So I'll
TV.
watch, but I will have recorded it the night before. So I watch Matlock, and I watch Mannix and Hawaii Five-O, and my new favorite is Barnaby Jones.
I have to check
And
that out again. I was on Matlock years ago. I was on Matlock. My nose is running. I
you
don't know why.
were?
Yeah, years
Tell
ago.
me
I
which
was on
episode.
and
The
I was on
Bride?
yeah, it's a bride again. And I was on Columbo. I played a hooker on that. But we
Really?
won't yeah, we won't talk about it. But anyway, uh are you close with your grandparent? Were you close with your grandparents growing up?
Very close.
You were close.
I
Did your
I
grandmother ever give you any advice?
well, I have 2 sets of grandmothers, and one said, "Don't marry for money, divorce for money." But, no, these are all jokes from my act. I think you're setting me up to tell jokes from
No, I'm
my
not. I would never set you up,
oh, did my
ever.
grandmother give me
I would
advice?
set you up on a date, but I wouldn't.
My
So,
my grandmother was very, very ahead of her time. Like well, both of them were. One of them was self-published, which you
wow.
didn't even hear of that,
Not
but
then.
he had written poetry and wanted to see it in a book, and my
Oh,
grandfather did that
wow.
for her. My other grandmother was ahead of her time. She put the phone in her purse, and it was a rotary phone. But, no. My other grandmother was just very cool, like, she was like Auntie Mame, like, um, the best advice I ever got, not that you asked me, but my mother-in-law, before she passed, uh, told me that if you want something done, do it yourself. And she wasn't saying like, "I don't wanna help you." She was saying, "If you have a vision of something, nobody can do it for you."
She's right.
And yeah, and I keep
She's
that
so
in
right.
mind.
And that's why you are where you are. That's why you are who you are and where you are. And do you know how many people, I got to tell you, uh, I, I admire you so much. I can't even tell you how much I admire you for doing what you do. I did comedy for a little bit. I did it a little bit, but to do what, I mean, Bill Maher calls you up, says, Wendy, I want you to open up for me. And, you are living the life. You're living the life. And how fun. What a fun
Well,
life you have.
sometimes I think I'm making it up. Like, I just
Well,
feel so lucky. I feel like a very lucky person. And I heard today that the things you say get they manifest. They really do become real.
I believe that. Totally believe that.
So, it might have been one of these, uh, praise Jesus channels, but but I still took it to heart.
So
No, I
hot.
was flipping channels once, and I did hear all about how, like, words become things,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, and I wanna write a movie about somebody who a comedian whose jokes all came true. Like, they joked about everything, and things
I
came
think
to
you
pass.
should I think you should star in it.
Should I? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I admire you so for doing that Instagram. You were posting every single day during COVID. I was because you and I are friends on Instagram, and uh, that was the coolest thing that you did. That it was kind of like having your own diary, but on Insta. You kept track of
You.
every day. How many days did you do?
It was like 200 days,
Right,
and
there's a lot of days.
honestly, I think it was to keep me sane because I love being in a community, and
Right.
I felt like I had a little community because people would write to me, and, um, it really made me get out of bed. Like, I would have just
It was.
lulled? I would have just
I
hung out in bed and not
I
given
get it.
about my hair, or I had to be presentable.
And you
So,
were, but you were so raw and you were
yeah,
genuine and you didn't wear makeup. You didn't put
I
makeup
should put
on.
them all together. I should put them all together on a YouTube
You really
channel.
should. I mean, that would be the Wendy Liebman documentary. I mean, that could be part of your documentary. Why not? I mean, why not? Do it. Okay, and now we are going to do curveballs.
Hey, Lisa. Hey,
Say hi to
neighbor.
Wendy.
Hi, Wendy. I think we're neighbors. I think
We
we live
are?
close. Yeah, I did. I live around the corner, like on Roscoe. It's a very exclusive gated community. You probably never heard of it, but no, I had to because I go through. I had to do a little research. I mean, I've known you for not personally, but I'm a big fan of comedians. I was watching the Rodney Dangerfield specials in the '80s. Maurice LaMarche and Bob Nelson. Those like Sam Kinison, and they just played forever. So I'm a huge stand-up comedy fan. So I've seen you and your contemporaries, but and I looked at what you're doing now, and no, it's great. I saw you grew up obviously in Tupelo, Mississippi. No, you're definitely not. No, let me start with a question. Here's how it goes. When people hear Wendy Liebman, they group you in with your contemporaries: Rita Rudner, Elaine Boozler, Susie Essman, Kathy Ladman, any of whom could be on a female comedy Mount Rushmore. Have you ever been to South Dakota?
I've been to South Dakota. I have been. I couldn't tell you where. It was in the 90s, and I only know that I've been there because I've been to every state except Montana.
Oh, so
Wow.
you're
But
so
I know
close.
I was in Fargo, North Dakota for sure.
All right.
Wow. Oh, I love the movie Fargo.
Oh,
But I think
been
I
there.
was I think I performed at a college in South Dakota.
All right. Yeah, I'll check your records so we can make it official, and we'll
I
get you
wanna
to Montana.
I want to thank you for adding me to that group of
Yeah,
phenomenally funny women.
that's your
That's mind blowing.
yes. Well, when she said that she was doing When Leaving, I pictured you all at, and we had recently seen, was it, who was at the Bill Maher party at
Oh,
not Bill Maher,
we saw
at
no, at
the Christmas party, and Bill Maher sometimes goes, and
Kathy
Kathy
Ladman.
Ladman was there, and
Kathy
you were
Ladman. We
talking to
were
her for a
hanging out
while.
with Kathy afterwards. Yeah, she's
So
great.
that was nice.
Which Christmas
You
party was this that I wasn't
It
invited
was
to?
right
I'm kidding.
before.
It
Yeah,
was Sit and Spin. It was Sit and
it was
Spin,
Sit and
and then
Spin, and
Paul
Bill Maher
Schrader
is friends with that group.
Paul
Right, with
Schrader was
So
Maggie
there.
Rowe, who
yes,
started Sit and
correct.
Spin, and
So I
Jim
was.
Valensy is her
You are
husband.
correct. It was Jim. Yeah, Jim's house, and I've
Yes,
done
that's
Sit and
right.
Spins, and my partner, writing partners, do very close with them, so they house sit for them. So
They are
um,
so great.
They're
Okay.
yeah.
fun.
Oh yeah, they're the best. You went to Wellesley College, all women. Who's your favorite go-go?
Um, that was a curveball.
I know.
I went to Wellesley, but I really wanted to go to Brown,
Oh, okay.
and I was waitlisted, and I'm still waiting.
They'll call.
Um,
They're slow.
my favorite go-go are the Bangles.
Oh, you prefer the Bengals? Okay. We love them both. That's fair. That's
I
fair.
love Suzanne Hoffs. I love the Bengals.
Oh no, I loved them both, and we saw the Go-Go's. They were here last
Oh,
March, maybe.
Belinda Carlisle. Didn't she
Yeah,
perform?
they all sounded
Yeah.
great. They all sounded great and looked great. And the drummer
So
was recovering from something, so she was.
then there's
Up.
somebody called Brandy Carlisle,
Oh,
who a
did you?
friend of
Yes.
mine was posting about Brandy, and I thought they meant Belinda, and then I checked out Brandy, who is like, I'm so
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
So.
Phenomenal.
I, yeah. I
She's
was.
like the female Elvis. Yeah.
I've been sitting here in the background the whole time. I was half listening, and uh, I was mostly listening. But Lucy is is Lisa's Valentine, and Rick actually knows. But and my wife did the same thing as you. She went to Crunch because it was next to my son's gym. Still pays for it. Don't think she's been back.
I
But
mean, they say they have a branch in Tokyo. I'm like, how am I ever gonna find out if that's true?
you might get a book there. But having watched, I've been watched some of your specials, rewatched, I guess, and over the years, and you look very much the same. You're very very lean. I would say like a heavy Karen Carpenter.
Uh,
Well,
much
she was
heavier.
my idol.
Karen Pork. Yeah, she was great. She was
She was
great.
my
Oh yeah, she was
idol.
great. I was just for comparative, so that's a good place to be.
They have
Well,
the dark hair, very,
Yeah,
I think
natural,
he
very
meant
natural.
skinny,
yes, but a heavy Karen Carpenter would
a
be
heavy
perfect.
Karen Carpenter.
Yeah,
Well, I wanna be a skinny Karen Carpenter.
no,
You
nobody
are.
is.
You're beautiful.
Okay.
Wendy,
That's
before Adam goes to the next one, were you
yeah.
popular at school, Were you popular with the boys? Because you're so easy to be with and adorable and so petite and cute. And like I didn't realize how petite you are. When I stood next to you, I was like,
I'm
she's, not,
short.
you're so cute though. You're
I'm
like a
very
little,
short.
I want to
Was I
hug you.
popular? Was I popular?
Were you popular?
Um,
Were
I
you
was friends
outgoing?
I was, I now am both an introvert and an extrovert. Like I was in bed for 14 months with I had a broken leg, and I was fine with that. I guess early on in my career, I had fear of missing out. I was born early because I had fear of missing out. So there are
Mhm.
both sides of my personality. Um, I'm extrovert and introvert. I was friends with a few people from each group,
So was
and I
I.
had a best friend. So it wasn't that I was wildly popular, but I fit in everywhere, kind of.
That's the
And with
coolest.
the boys, not really. Like my best friend was friends with all the boys and like really was part of one of them. And I
Hmm.
was never one of them. And one of them was Howard Gordon, who wrote Home or produced Homeland and the X Files. And
Oh,
I was
wow.
thinking about this today that there was one night that we were all watching The Twilight Zone together. And cut to now, like I feel like the X Files came out of that kind of
Yes.
creative
Same
thinking.
genre.
And
Yeah.
we were sitting there with Howard Gordon watching The
That's
Twilight.
wild. Oh, that's
Yeah,
wild. That's
he's
great.
phenomenal.
Adam,
Yes,
you have any other curveballs for
yeah, I
Wendy?
do. You know I do. Okay, you grew up on Long Island, just 10 miles from where Billy Joel grew up. Do you play any instruments?
He grew up in Oyster Bay, right? Long Island?
Hicksville.
Hicksville. My sister once worked at US Blues and Acme Leather in the town of Roslyn, and he came in and Billy Joel came in and she sold him a bandana. But to answer your question, I've played the piano for 50 years
Whoa.
and I wasn't really trained. Like I had a couple of teachers early on and they were all like, whatever you're doing, just do that. But we can't teach you anything. Cause what I do is I can't read notes, but I can read the guitar chords.
No.
And I played them on the piano and I improvise. So if I've heard the song, I can play it if I have the
Oh,
chords.
So you play by ear.
Pretty much, but I
That's
have
pretty
to have
cool.
the chords.
Right. Oh,
And
you have
it's
to,
my
when you come over, you and Ella could play piano together because my daughter
it's my
plays. She loves,
favorite hobby.
oh, okay. We're going to have a
uh,
night here
it
and we'll
made me
have,
think of your story with your husband who came home from school and had the spoonful of sugar. I just think of how different it would be if it's like, yeah, they gave us a shot in the ass. And a shot in the ass helps the medicine go down. Yes, I got it. Wait do you hear this, Walt? What's what's the rating on this? Okay, you appeared on Make Me Laugh, Comic Relief,
Funny.
and Hollywood Squares. Have you ever met Paul Lynde?
No, but I know a
We,
guy named Michael Arrington who
mhm,
does Paul Lynde and brings his show to different places. He did it at Vitello's, and
we would see that.
phenomenal. You've
Yeah,
seen it?
we love Paul. No, I haven't. We would see it. We love Pauline, so I always have to bring
Oh,
them up. Her friends, the Bobs, have a book, and I had to borrow it. They live in Palm Springs, and they're supposed to be doing a docudrama about him. So,
did you ever
when I
give
saw
the
Oh,
Hollywood
the
Bob's?
Submarine, I was
Michael
like,
Arrington. Michael Arrington is the guy who does it.
We have
okay,
to go see him. We have to
yeah,
go
we have
see
to go
him.
see it. Well, call
By
when
the
the
way,
Bobs come in. Bring the Bobs in.
did you ever give the Bobs their book back?
Yes, I did. I did.
Who
Did
are the
they ask
Really?
Bobs?
for
I'm
it or
going to
something?
Palm Springs.
The Bobs. Oh,
Her
the
friend.
Bobs. My husband, Rick, went to El Camino High School with Bob Klein. And Bob met Bob, another Bob. And so now they are a Bob. He met his partner, Bob. So we call them the Bobs. And they're adorable. And
Yes.
we go
Oh,
visit them in Palm Springs. At least we've been there a few times, right, Ad? I introduced Adam and his family to the Bobs. The Bobs are great. You'll
We
meet them,
went
Wendy.
there, but then they came here for your birthday and did the
Yeah, they
song.
came.
No, no,
Well, they came.
that was the other couple. That was your other couple.
That was my other Peter and Rufino. They
That
did the
was Peter.
song for me
They
for
did
my
the song.
60, yeah, for my birthday. Um, but
Okay, drink your
Wendy,
thing.
Wendy, when you perform next time you perform, I'll bring the Bobs and I'll introduce you to them. Adam, you can come too.
Thanks.
okay.
I could see her perform at pavilions when
Why
I
don't we go
run
see her at
into
the
her.
Orpheum? Let's go see
I
the
did
show.
perform at pavilions during the pandemic. I just there were people around. I started telling
Yeah.
jokes. I
Yes.
tried it out one-on-one.
Some real crowd work in aisle. What aisle were you in?
Aisle 6.
Great. See,
Aisle
I know,
6.
but I would see you there. That's kind of weird.
And then
So
at one
comedy
point I was 30 and they had to do a cleanup on
clean
aisle
up aisle 6. Okay. All right. Good work. Actually, you have your joke style. I went to your website and you actually posted a lot of your one-liners for the world to see and steal, and hopefully credit you. But the one I thought was hysterical, that cracked me up, was someone left the cake out in the rain. Someone left a cake out in the rain. Luckily, it was sponge cake. That cracked me up.
I
That was a
love
good
that
one.
joke
And
too.
you,
That's
I was saying,
amazing.
my knowledge of comedy, you perform similar to Stephen Wright, Mitch Hedberg, kind of like one-liners that don't need a lot of context.
Love
But
Stephen
you
Wright.
you put like a dash of Rita Rudner. You kind of deliver her a little bit faster. I'd say 2.5 Rudners.
Well,
Probably fast.
Rita probably copied from Wendy, but
No, you know what? I am in this 38 years and I'm being completely honest. I'm still finding my voice. I'm now comfortable on stage. Now I have to figure out what I want to tell people. And it's great to make people laugh. But I feel like I should do more than that.
oh my
Maybe I'm
God.
maybe I'm a speaker, like I don't know,
You could
a
be a speaker. You could
motivation.
incorporate the comedy. You could incorporate the
Yeah,
comedy. You could be like, it's like you could do like kind of, it's like therapy. It's like therapy because laughter is the best medicine, right?
it
So you could
truly
do,
is.
I mean, Wendy, you could do workshops, stuff like that. I mean, that would be great for you. I mean, you should think about that. And I love
Well,
your joke.
Monica Piper, what?
I love your joke about, my husband's a CPA. What, didn't you do a joke about something like that? What was that joke? You did a joke about something with
Rita.
the audit, something with an audit. Oh, you said
Oh,
something.
that I like to sweat, but I without having to exercise. So I like a sauna or a long audit.
That's
Yes,
great.
that is
That's
the one.
great. Do you love that, Adam?
I like that, and I like I write fiction in checks.
Well, that
That's
came
pretty
out
funny.
of that was my first joke, and that came out
Right. Yeah.
of
That
me
was good.
being depressed because a teacher didn't accept me back into her creative fiction class. And somebody said, "Are you ever going to write fiction again?" And I said, "I'm not even going to write a check." So that became my first joke. I'm a writer. I write checks. They're mostly fiction. And,
Until the right.
it still works,
So
right?
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, people say, don't you need new material all the time? I go, well, not that I'm Bruce Springsteen, but he sings Born to Run every night. Um, So if it still works,
It still works.
Well,
And
you can update it. Everybody does electronic. You could say even my e-checks bounce.
I know because people don't write checks anymore.
That's
No.
what's going away. Yeah, you got to update. And
Do
I'm
you have
not
to be
technological.
do you have to be a straight A do you have to be like a really smart person to write clever comedy? Like, do you have to be academically? Do you think you have to be like an A student?
I don't think so at
Um,
all. I think there's so much to say. It,
you have
whoever
to be
you,
articulate.
You have to be
yeah,
articulate, but you have to be clever. You have to be like,
you have to imagine things. Like
yeah,
Jeff and I will do a lot of. Jeff is my husband. We'll go off on wordplay things. We really enjoy that. I can't give you an example and they're corny, but we just have fun. So it's just a
Oh,
way to exercise our brain.
so you're so
mhm.
easy to be with. And like, is he like, if you have a fight, every couple, we all disagree with our spouse or a partner. What is your
Right.
style? Like, do you get, because I can't see you ever yelling and raising your voice, Wendy. I can't.
I am such a good actress. No, I'm kidding. We he only fights with me if he wants makeup sex. Then he'll
Got
pick
it.
a fight. But
Okay.
we really don't fight. But when we have something to say to each other that's a little contentious,
Hmm.
we'll make a joke about it. And
That's great.
so we get the drift of what the
I
other
love it.
person's trying to say. Like lately, as I've gotten older, I've gotten more like, "You'll do this now," instead of saying, "Will you do this now?" And so he'll joke, he'll go, "Oh, I'll do this now, will I?" So
That's
now I
great.
go, "Okay, I have to change. I'm turning into my mother."
Oh, we all are. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my mother is so funny. She's 87, as I mentioned, and she just said she's thinking about going back to school.
Good
4th
for
grade.
her.
4th grade.
Fourth grade.
And Wendy, I love you so much.
Leaning in.
I'm telling you
Thank
right
you so much
now,
for having me. This
thank you
was
so much for
fun.
being with us. This was so much fun. I want to thank my guest, Wendy Liebman, for joining me today. And I want to thank my producers, Alan Tuzinski, Melissa Lenner from Pretty Easy Podcasts, my writer, Adam Labarkin, and my composer, Jeff Urban. And I want to thank all of you for leaning in with me today. And until next time, leaning out.
Lean in, Lisa, put her to the test. Lean in, Lisa, so get it off your chest. It's more than just a trend, cause everyone's her friend. So lean in with Lisa, spend your time with Lisa. Lisa's got something to say. So reach out to Lisa every day.